Hi there, and welcome back to Valley por Vida. Well, recently on the show, we brought you some interesting info about a Brewed in Texas campaign and talked about how us here in the Lone Star State are, well, pretty proud to live in the great state of Texas. So now we thought it'd be fun to break down the whole concept of breweries and beer in general. I mean, where does it come from? Has it always been used socially, or was it used in other ways? So on and so on. So according to beerconnoisseur.com, apparently the word is Slavic and comes from the verb to drink. So basically it was at first referring to any type of drink and not necessarily one kind. And the site says that the earliest recordings of the existence of beer came about around 3000 BC after people found ancient evidence of the chemical residue from it over in Iran. Pretty interesting how those chemicals in the product can be so strong even years later. In fact, the strongest beer in the world thus far actually had a level of 67.5%, and it was created by a Scottish brewery. It was so unique that they called it snake venom. And over in ancient China, apparently beer used to be brewed from sprouted rice, and even in some instances with different kinds of fruit added to it. And the site says that some versions of the beverage was made to not have alcohol in it by eliminating fermentation from the final product. And the technology for making these drinks has definitely improved throughout the years. I'm sure there'll be, even new flavors and versions of it over time. And Americans aren't the only ones who keep breweries in business. The site says that China, Germany, Russia, and Brazil are in the top 5 when it comes to beer producing countries. But the largest of all when it comes to production of the beverage is Belgium. Apparently they own about 400 different brands of it, circulating within 50 different countries. But even with so many types for consumers to choose from these days, the site says that the most common type is the one you see on screen, with about 80% world consumption. And it outlines that Russia consumes about 58 liters per capita per year. But if breweries have been around for a while now, it makes you wonder, which is the oldest in history to date? The site actually outlines that it's recorded that over in Germany, there's one regarded as the oldest in the world, founded in the year 1040. And if you're looking only to consume these beverages on a special occasion, then maybe International Beer Day is what you're looking for. The site says it's celebrated every first Friday in the month of August, and it was started back in 2007 with over 50 countries and 200 cities observing it across the globe. And Texans in particular really seem to enjoy creating their own breweries, if not supporting them, right? Which is pretty cool. I mean, it's nice to support local breweries and businesses in general, here in the Valley especially, just to help each other out. And speaking of doing so, we've actually got a little advice for you to keep in mind when it comes to wrapping up this year, now that we're at the halfway point. In fact, 2022 is honestly just flying by, and before you know it, it'll be December. And during the end of the year, a lot of us tend to think about what we could have done better, what we could have done now, of course, for a better future, like taxes. And when we think about what we can do next time, it's a little tough. I mean, it's hard to know how exactly we're supposed to approach this, but when we're speaking about taxes, we thought it'd be great to speak with an expert to learn about what we can do if we missed the deadline for filing our taxes, plus so much more.
Hi, my name is Anita. I'm from Jackson Hewitt, and today I'm excited to talk to you about mid-year tax planning. It's important to review paycheck withholding throughout the year. So doing a mid-year checkup can help you know if you're on track. There's an IRS tool that you can use for that. It's called the Tax Withholding Estimator. And basically, you just fill in some information from your pay stub. And if you see that you're on the verge or have a balance due, right now is the perfect time to fix that. So you can fill out a new W-4 with your employer and adjust that extra withholding so you can have a refund. Generally, filers who are due a refund don't get a penalty. Filers who have tax owed, they are subject to penalties and interest. So the sooner they file, they reduce those charges. Electronic filing this year is still available to October 17th. So the child tax credit is going back to the original $2,000 instead of the upgraded $3,000, and then less than 5 children were getting $3,600. So that is going to be a big shock for a lot of filers. Right now is the perfect time, to get an estimate on what your refund is going to be, so that way at the end of the year, for the beginning of the year next year, you don't get a refund shock, as to you were expecting more than you should have gotten. Yeah, it's always a great time, just to come in and get an estimate, especially now. We're open year round, so we're available to help with that. Yeah, if you see that you're on track, try putting a little extra on your retirement savings. That helps, and that can absolutely boost your refund. It's very important, especially for self-employed, to keep track of your mileage. We do have a lot of issues with that, where they don't realize that they do need to keep track at the very beginning of the year for that.
Taxes are just one of those things that many of us may not particularly enjoy, but it's so important. And it's important to make sure that you're doing it the right way, not only as a responsibility, but for yourself. I guess doing your taxes is what they consider adulting, right? No matter what age you are, it's just one of those life admin tasks that we've got to learn to do and do right. Kind of like doing the laundry, filing expense reports at work, maintaining your car, and other things like that. But not to worry, we've got some helpful adulting tips for you to keep in mind to make life just a tad bit easier. According to BuzzFeed.com, apparently it's a good idea to switch up your regular savings accounts for ones with a higher interest rate. And it outlines that research supports what are called as super funds as a good way just to have high growth options for your money. And it's a good idea to take care of your physical health as well as your financial well-being. So the site says you can practice training your mind to like healthy food, as well as you train it, like if you're developing your muscles during workouts. Not only are these things good for your body, but for your mental health too. It outlines that we've got to prioritize our health with, work and all other responsibilities that we have. And it can definitely be tough, but it's all about balance. And of course, good habits like these ultimately lead to your self-discipline. So remember that when it comes to your finances, you've got to write a budget, and then the hardest part, stick to it. And when it comes to your overall personal health, you got to balance adult life with relaxation and, of course, play on top of health. Aside from resources like counseling, there are actually a lot of smartphone apps that can just help you keep track of your finances, your life habits, and your overall mental and physical health. Honestly, these days there's an app for everything, so maybe just try giving them a go. And hey, it may even be helpful to know, how to operate in the kitchen. While I may not be too good at this one myself, we can at least try, right? The site says that we should learn how to cook at least a couple of dishes that are easy to put together. This way it can come in handy in so many situations and can help make life easier for you when it comes to health and time saving and, of course, money saving. It may also be a good idea to learn how to get into meal prepping if you haven't already, and that way you can exercise self-discipline while you're at it. 2 birds with 1 stone. And this is an interesting one. It also outlines that if we invest a little bit on decent Tupperware, our kitchen supplies might even last us longer, which of course also helps to save money little by little. Something I never really thought about before, but definitely insightful. And lastly, if you haven't already, you may want to consider online shopping. It can potentially help you save money if you know how to shop smart only. The site says we should invest in certain things, like couches and mattresses and cookware, since we use these items, on a daily basis. But we should probably be a little bit more cautious when spending money on things like that are just not so used appliances and like decorative plants. Those are just a little bit further down on the importance list. It's not necessary typically. And the site also outlines that we've got to learn to get up early. Not only is it good for our mental health, since it gives us a few moments of the day just for quiet time by ourselves, peaceful moments of relaxation, but early bird gets the worm, right? Studies do show that productivity rates increase when we wake up early, and when we tend to just get more done when we do this. It's just definitely a good idea all around. We may all only have 24 hours in the day, we know that, but what you do with those 24 hours matters, so definitely keep that in mind. All right, thanks again so much for joining us today, and thanks again so much for and be sure to tune in again next time because we're going to have a lot more in store for you. But for now, don't forget to follow our team on social media for exclusive behind-the-scenes sneak peeks at what we've got coming up and for your chance at your comment or even your question to be featured on air. And as always, visit valleycentral.com to rewatch some of today's favorite segments. We've got all that and so much more fun next time on Valley Puerto Rico.